Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. As you know, my name is Rebecca Escott, and today we're actually going to be working with a 10-ounce shorty as well as this brand new pattern vinyl. Both of these items come from AB Designs. Not to worry, the link will be down in the description for you below. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and remove and peel back some of this backing. We're going to line this up on the tumbler anywhere just to get started. Once we have a nice straight line, I'm actually going to go ahead and start wrapping this around the tumbler, which you've seen me do 100 times. Now, my main goal is to go ahead and stay above this factory line that's already basically been created for us. However, if you go too far, not to worry, because we're going to trim up anything that slips below that line once we get this wrapped. I really hope that you are enjoying this video so far, and if so, please don't forget to hit that like button, and please subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming soon. Once you have your tumbler wrapped and you are sure you are wrinkle free, now we're going to go ahead and trim the rim. When you go to trim the rim, make sure you have a very sharp X-Acto knife, as it makes this job 10 times easier. Also, when trimming the rim, it's very important that you just lay that X-Acto blade right on the rim of that stainless steel tumbler. Do not do a saw motion, in other words, back and forth. I'm hoping this is making sense, but if you do a back and forth motion, you're very likely to ruin the vinyl that's actually on the tumbler. We want this to be as smooth and clean as possible. Now that I've trimmed the rim, we're going to go ahead and use our X-Acto knife and go right up that seam. So as I stated earlier, if by any chance that you went ahead and took your vinyl below this factory line, we're going to go ahead and trim that anyways. So not to worry, it could be an actual gauge for you, if you will, to make sure that you have a nice straight line. Once you've removed all that excess, we're going to go ahead and cover this up, protect the tumbler so that we can spray paint this bottom end. So anytime that I'm going to protect my tumblers, I simply use painter's tape and parchment paper. However, you can use whatever you are most comfortable with. Just make sure that it's nice and sealed, everything is protected, because overspray on your tumbler sucks. So I chose to use gloss meadow green from Rust-Oleum to paint my tumbler. Once it's painted, I immediately remove the parchment paper as well as the painter's tape. I allow this to completely dry before moving on to the next step. Once my paint was completely dry, I'm going to go in with Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. You're going to want to make sure that this is fully cured before moving on to the next step. And make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see. Now that we are fully cured, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Though I did jump a step, and I decided to go ahead and add on the 3-inch diameter that I did make with Cricut Design Space using the circle feature that is provided. I'm using the same pattern vinyl as I did on the remaining bits of the tumbler. So all is well, even though I jumped the gun. I'm going to go ahead and tape off this bottom portion, which we painted green earlier, and have since epoxied. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Rust-Oleum white, and I'm going to spritz that right over. I'm basically going to cover up the seam. So now it's painted, and I really wanted to zoom in so you guys can see the dimples. Spray paint, I tell you, is not forgiving at all. So any little error, it's going to show up. However, I decided to go ahead and proceed because I have to do another coat of epoxy before I apply my decal to this tumbler. So it's basically going to fill in. So I really want you to pay close attention when I get ready to epoxy. But for now, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and add in my nail tape from AB Designs. Sometimes I feel like a huge mistake queen, but honestly, I'm just here to teach you guys. So my mistakes help prevent your mistakes. So basically, once we go ahead and apply this another coat of Fast Set from Counterculture DIY, you're gonna see all where I had dimples in the original coat of epoxy are all gonna be filled in. So if you notice a lot of dimples, I like to call them dimples, everyone has their own name for it, just go ahead and apply that extra coat of epoxy, fill in those dimples, look and see, rewind, play back so that you can really see all where I had dimples are gone. Let me know down in the comments if you caught on to what I was talking about a few minutes ago. And don't forget, after each coat of epoxy, make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see. Once your tumbler is fully cured, we're now ready to go ahead and place on the decal. This is another decal coming from AB Designs, which is a clear cast decal. It says, hold on, let me overthink this, which I am hugely profound for doing. I have gotten to where I like to use transfer paper when applying these clear cast decals so that I don't get my fingerprints up underneath. I also like to trim them down, which doesn't matter because if you have a cleaned, non-sanded surface, you cannot tell once you've applied epoxy where you've cut this decal. Once you remove your transfer and or contact paper, this tumbler is now ready for another coat of epoxy. I have to admit, this is one of my most favorite tumblers to date. I feel like I always say that, but this is genuinely one of my all-time favorites. Let me know what you think down in the comments. So this sweet little 10-ounce shorty only needed one final coat and it was completed. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to find me on TikTok under Rebecca Escott and at Facebook under Everything Tumbler Tutorials for continued learning. Remember, all the links will be down in the description for you below.
Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight, but trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you